This build is a marksman melee build. Yes, marksman melee. It is very fast, it does a lot of damage, and it's very smooth and easy to play. Let me show you. As you can see, it's very quick and does a lot of damage. And it has very good clear speed.
Not happening.
As you can see, I'm not using a lot of skills here. Mainly detonate arrow and shift.
Not happening.
And it's very nice. So that's the build. Now let me go back and show you how it works exactly. So yeah, as you can see, the main skill here is detonate arrow. But what is this? I'm using melee. How does that work? Well, the secret is with these melee weapons. As you can see, these two daggers. Gelcorn's blast knife. It gives you +3 to detonating arrow and reduces the mana cost of detonating arrow, and it allows you to use detonating arrow without a bow, and it changes the skill to a melee skill, and it allows you to scale detonating arrow with melee damage instead of bow damage. Now this is kind of awkward and I'm gonna show you why in a second, but as you can see, I have two of them. So since one of them reduces mana cost, so the mana cost is 8. If I use two of them, I get +6 to detonating arrow and a 0 mana cost. So you can see I'm using detonating arrow with 0 mana cost. Yeah, and as you can see, if I remove one of them, the scaling also doubles. These two daggers are the core of the build. Everything else here, as you can see, I don't have a lot. I only have one unique. You really don't need anything here. I'm mostly maximizing melee damage and lightning damage, because detonating arrow now scales with lightning and melee damage. So everything I have here increases lightning damage and melee damage, and all the items just... I have some items here that increase melee attack speed, and some items have just resistances and dodge rating. The only thing you need for this build are these two daggers, and it can even work with just one of them. And for the rest of the items, you can just have melee attack speed, melee damage, and lightning damage, and just dodge rating. And for the idols, you want to get some resistances, and you can see here I also have here some crit chance. So you can play around with all the items here to maximize your damage and your defenses. So most of the items here you can change, so the only requirement here is these daggers. So now for the skills. Detonating arrow here. So here you want to maximize crit chance. You can see here I have quick detonation for crit chance, and I have barrage to remove the arming time. So you can, as soon as I hit the enemy, they explode. And I have weak spot here to increase crit multiplier, increase attack speed, and arcane blast. This allows you to clear the map very quickly. And at the bottom here, I have explosion damage and explosion hit damage per missing health on enemies, and some damage here, and outburst to increase the area of effect. So yeah, that's really all you need here. And for the rest of the skills, because we're not using a bow, we can't really use anything else. Like, we can't use hail of arrows, we can't use dark quiver, we can't use multi-shots. So we're relying mostly on detonating arrow. That's why I'm maximizing detonating arrow damage with the items that I have here, with increased lightning damage and increased melee damage and melee attack speed. So for the rest of the skills, I just have utilities. Shift for movement speed. There's nothing special here, just increased movement speed. And because I'm maximizing the damage I get with the armor, with the gear that I have, it's nice to have some healing. So that's for shift. There's nothing really special here, just movement speed and healing. And maybe you want to get some of the nodes here since we're using melee. And spark bombs also useful with increased damage down here, and some leech and umbral assault. Yeah, and like I said, since we're not using a bow, we're mostly focusing on detonating arrow here. We also have more utilities with decoy, additional decoy here, and increased crit multiplier here, which also scales with dodge chance. And we have some haste here, is also nice. And I do have a flask here just to, again, have some utility. I have here apply frailty and increased area of effect and chance to blind down here. Yeah, most of the skills are just utilities, and the main damage skill is detonating arrow. Now for the passives, we really can't do a lot of things here. The only thing we need here is just detonating arrow. That's why most of the nodes I have are here. Most of the nodes in marksman require you to use a bow, which we don't have. So the only thing I have in the marksman tree is just this. We have this, gain health. The increased attack speed here we're not gonna get. It's just health, and we have some dexterity here, and we have concentration. This helps with survivability. There's nothing else here because most of the skills here require you to use a bow or don't apply to detonating arrow as a melee skill. So most of the nodes I have are here. I have attack speed and lethal cascade, dexterity and health, dodge rating, evasion, more dodge rating, increased damage and haste. And this is essentially, you have to get this for this build. It allows you to use 2 weapons. And here we have increased damage and more dodge rating and some crits here, since we have crit on detonating arrow. We have crit here. And we have this coated blade. It increases damage, but it increases mana consumed. So this does not matter. The mana cost here, the increased mana cost here does not matter because we reduce the mana to 0 with the daggers here. So it really doesn't matter. So yeah, that's the build here. Like, there's nothing really special, like except for these, except for the daggers and the detonating arrow skill tree, where we have increased crits and attack speed and arcane blast and barrage, and some damage down here. So yeah, that's it. So this is how you play this build. You mostly just dash in and you just hit enemies and they just explode, and the lightning will arc to more enemies. And since we increased area of effect, it will clear most enemy groups. And we have smoke bomb to increase our melee damage and get some leech. And we have acid flask to get some debuffs on the enemies, and decoy to get some increased dodge rating, and it's just a nice utility to have. Yeah, so it's very simple to play. You just move in, you hit enemies and they explode, and you dodge in, dodge out. If you want some health, you use haste, and everything just explodes. It's very nice to play. So yeah, I'm gonna leave the link to the build in the description, so be sure to check that out. And if you like this video, please press like, and if you want to see more Last Epoch content, be sure to subscribe because I will be posting a lot more. That's it. Take care.